Bada bing and bada boom. We are back with the Icon Blueprint, where we're focusing on those other 23 hours outside of our exercise that really make a difference. And today, in episode 2, we're going to talk about owning our day before our day owns us. Now, you may be wondering, and this could be new to a lot of people, what does my day, more specifically my calendar, have to do with my health? And I can tell you from experience, 10 years being in the health and fitness field, that I never found the results that I was looking for personally, not only with my body, but my mind, my day, until I got outside of the constant thought process of fitness, nutrition, fitness, nutrition, fitness, nutrition, fitness, nutrition. Throughout my 10 years of running a gym, managing a gym, starting a couple different businesses, I was pretty darn stressed out at times. And due to that stress, little did I know, there was issues that were going on with pain, shoulders, knees, hips, always aching, always hurting. Never really being able to lose that last kind of like stubborn body weight. Never really having the body composition that I wanted. And I worked out hard and I focused on my nutrition and so on and so forth. But what I didn't realize is that throughout my day of having so many different things going on, that I was completely stressed out. And again, it wasn't until I got out of the grind and stepped back and started really diving into the science of our hormones and what stress does to us. As we all know, stress is no good. Constant stress is no good. That I started to recognize that if I decrease my stress, I increase my rest, I started getting the body that I always wanted. I started dropping that extra body fat. I started getting rid of inflammation so there was no more pain. And that's kind of the concept here at Icon Fitness and with the Icon Blueprint, is to be able to kind of give you this blueprint of being able to decrease that stress and increase your rest so that you give your body the opportunity to let go of that body fat, to be able to let go of that inflammation, and to be able to start living a life that is what you want to live. Well, that's a crazy concept. And so that's what we're going to dive in to today when it comes to our schedule and being able to own our day instead of our day owning us. So let's start off with that. I've said that now a couple times. What is the difference between owning your day and your day owning you? When your day owns you, you are mostly in a reactive state, meaning that you're reacting to what people will say fires. I got to work and there was all these fires I had to put out. And you're constantly bouncing from one thing to another, never really having the ability to settle in, to be able to have focus, and to be able to be calm through that focus. We tend to put too many things onto our list, and usually most people that I work with, that's exactly what they have. They just have this massive list. They just keep adding on to this never-ending list and never really looking at it and going like, well, what's the priority of this? Does this even actually matter? And so when we put too many things onto our list, we're trying to get this massive, impossible never-ending list completed while we're trying to put out fires. And so we're in this, again, constant reactive state. And when we get home from work, which we're usually kind of scrambling to finish our day, to get done with the things that we were kind of trying to, it was kind of our main topic that we really wanted to get this completed, and we just couldn't because we were putting out all these fires, right? And these people were calling, and then there was the emails, and then there's, the kids and the family, and by the time we get home, we feel exhausted because we actually don't feel like we accomplished anything throughout the day. And that's the worst feeling. Now, why that feeling can get even worse is when we lay our head down on the pillow and we start thinking of that massive to-do list that didn't really get done today, and that big looming project or whatever it may be for you is still kind of weighing over your head, plus this never-ending list. It makes it really hard to go to sleep at night. And then if you do go to sleep, you tend to wake up in the middle of the night, and the very first thing you think about is not, butterflies and peaceful beaches. It's the project that's due, the never-ending list, the people that you're supposed to have a dinner with, or so on and so forth. And the feeling of not having enough time starts really creeping into your heart and soul. And that starts elevating stress and all these bad hormones that come with it. So that's the one side, right? That's when your day owns you. You find yourself reactive. You don't end up getting to the end of the day and going, man, I'm accomplished. I really feel good about what happened today. And you tend to not be able to sleep through the rest of the night, right? And so then the cycle returns in the morning when, because you didn't sleep well, you end up sleeping past your alarm or snoozing, 5 different times. And so you're racing out the door, again, being reactive, and then find yourself going through the same cycle again. Okay, so that's your day owning you. Now, on the other hand, right, there's you owning your day. And you owning your day is being able to say, hey, here are the precise things that I'm going to do today, and nothing is going to interrupt it. Those fires that we think are fires are really things that aren't really up to us. Now, there's times where there really is a fire, but we have a difficult time being able to decipher between, oh, crap, this is a really big deal, and actually, nobody's going to die. It's not that big of a deal. And being able to delegate that task, whatever fire that may be, onto somebody else. But the idea is that throughout our day, when we own our day, we're proactive with it. We don't allow things to interrupt our day, so that we can get those exact tasks done that we want to get done with a very small to-do list that is detailed out, because we detailed it out starting on Sunday to be able to plan out our entire week, so that we knew we had control of our week and our week did not have control of us. So what does this have to do with fitness and health and body fat and losing weight and feeling better and having clarity and so on and so forth? Well, when you are in a reactive state, which a lot of people are throughout the day, you're going to be releasing these hormones, cortisol and adrenaline more specifically. Now, cortisol and adrenaline, these are beneficial hormones when utilized at the right time. Think of it as like your gas pedal on your car. We need the gas pedal, right? But we also need the brake pedal as well, because all gas and no brake, you're riding a real dangerous line here. So if throughout your day, when we are in a reactive state, And when we're in a reactive state, we're usually in a sympathetic state. And we've talked about this before in the past. The sympathetic nervous system is connected to your autonomic nervous system. And autonomic, meaning automatic, are the things like your heart beating and you breathing. It's just automatic. And you have two branches of that autonomic nervous system, your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. And your sympathetic is your fight or flight. This is where cortisol and adrenaline live. Your parasympathetic is your rest and digest, right? And if you're watching right now, you're probably thinking to yourself, ooh, fight or flight, rest and digest. Yeah, I'm probably more in this fight or flight. And the problem with being in that fight or flight is that when cortisol is constantly coursing through your body, one of its main jobs is to be able to make sure there is readily available energy in the bloodstream in the form of glucose. So it's going to take glucose, or those sugars, and put them into your bloodstream. But the problem with those sugars being in your bloodstream is that you have another hormone that comes in. It's called insulin, right? You might have heard that with type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance. It comes in and it now has to lower down that blood sugar level. So now it's going to take those sugars, the glucose, and what does it have to do with it? It does what it's supposed to do, and it stores it as fat. More specifically, it's going to store it around the organs, or that midsection fat, where we always go, oh man, I can't get rid of that, like belly fat, that midsection fat. I just can't. I do all the sit-ups, I do all the cardio, I just can't get rid of that. Well, I'll be the first one to tell you that if you're constantly in a reactive state, stressed throughout the day, releasing cortisol, reacting with insulin, you're always going to have that belly fat. And so you can see on the physical side of it that when we are in this reactive state, those are the hormones that are going to be released. If we never bring ourselves into that parasympathetic state, rest and digest, meaning, let me just throw this crazy idea out here, stopping for an hour, sitting down and eating slowly your lunch, and then maybe taking a nice, slow, casual walk. I know some of you guys that may be listening right now might be shaking your head like, I don't have time for that. I can't do that. I would say if you're saying you can't do that, then you're probably living in a reactive state. Is that you haven't created the boundaries and the borders and the rules to be able to make sure that you step into that parasympathetic state. Because if you're saying that you can't, then that's your life owning you, right? That's your day owning you. You're not saying to your day, no, I'm not busy. I know exactly when I'm going to get my work done. I know exactly what's going to happen. And I have the boundaries and rules to keep the people or the situations out that want to try to control my day. So, again, rest and digest, being able to do that maybe for lunch, maybe being able to stop for 15 minutes and do a little stretch, maybe 1 minute and just go through some breath work. These are all the teeniest, smallest, easiest changes that we can make to, for just a second, pull us out of that sympathetic state, bring us into a parasympathetic state, so that those hormones can stop for just a second, and so that we're not releasing cortisol throughout the day. And so we're not on this adrenaline high where our adrenal gland is just constantly pumping out adrenaline, where you feel wired, but you can't focus. These are the results of not being able to own your day. This will constantly keep that belly fat. This will constantly keep that shoulder hurting, that back hurting, and that inflammation going through your body, because that is a result of being in that sympathetic state. It's just what it's supposed to do. It's only supposed to be short-termed. Unfortunately, in our society, we have taken it very long-term throughout our day due to the fact that our society is constantly telling us to press down on that gas pedal. So you have to almost be a social deviant when it comes to saying like, no, I'm good. I'm going to get off it this time. Nope, that's okay. I'm going to push this project to next week because I got to be able to do this first. Being able to say no is the most powerful thing that we can do in our society these days. So, with that in mind, and I'm going to be wrapping this up, but with that in mind, what are we supposed to do then? What are we supposed to do? One, you need to have a planner. My suggestion is the full focus planner. This is what I give to every single client that joins on the 12-week icon. The reason is because I've vetted this planner time and time and time again. I'm on the 4th version, and I started off with version 1. I've been utilizing this planner for years now, and they have done an amazing job of being able to put together a planner that not only helps you own your day, but helps you own your weeks, months, and years. And it's something that I highly suggest. So, if you don't have a full focus planner, but you just have a normal planner, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down 1, 2, and 3. Those are the tasks that you get to complete in a day. That's it, 3 of them. And this is how I break them up. And a lot of you guys are like, there's no way I do like 20 million things in a day. You're probably doing a 20 million little things that really aren't moving the needle, whether it's in your business or your work, your own personal life, your hobbies, because it's so much easier to do the small, minuscule stuff that doesn't necessarily matter than it is to attack the really heavy, time-consuming, big tasks, due to the fact that attacking a big task means that you have to block out all the different distractions, and you don't necessarily have the tools yet to be able to block out those distractions. So those things usually get pushed back. But I digress there. 1, 2, and 3. Now this is how I break it up. My number 1 is my biggest task, or what you might say, I think it was Mark Twain says, eat the frog first. Eat your biggest frog first for the day. Nobody wants to eat a frog, but if you eat it, then it's over. So my number 1 is usually a project that I'm working on. That's going to be my number 1 thing that I'm going to attack, and I'm going to put the biggest amount of time for that number 1, due to the fact that I know it's going to move the needle the most. And it's going to be the thing that's scary and I don't want to do it and might make me a little nervous. That's what I'm going to do. That's my number 1. My number 2 usually has to do with business. So something along the lines of what I have to do in my business today. It's something that's a priority, that's almost more maintenance than it is like a huge move on the needle, but it is something that needs to be taken care of. And number 3 is going to be personal. So it's going to be something that I personally need to take care of. And to be able to kind of give you an example, my number 3 today was dry cleaning. I needed to pick up my dry cleaning. And so by being able to put that down, and it's one of my personal things, I know it's going to get done. Now, to give you an example, I totally forgot about my dry cleaning. I did my dry cleaning like a month and a half ago, and I totally forgot about it until they called me. And I didn't run over to there right then. I went, hey, my week's kind of already planned. Next week, though, it's available. I can go do it. It's no problem at all. And so number 3 is always going to be personal for me. And then below that, I always have a communication period. And for most of us, we need a communication period. That's email, that's text, that's calls, that's meetings, and so on and so forth. That's where I'll write down my other tasks. So today I have to send some programming over to a client. So that's what's down there. Now, during my normal period of email, of texting other clients, of following up, of communicating, this is a priority that I need to take care of, which is sending this programming over to this client so that it gets put down as a list. But that's it. 1, 2, 3, some communications. And it may seem like there's no way that you have too many things on your list and you need to be able to get them all done. But I can promise you that if you just break it down and want 3 tasks a day, that's it. And then give yourself some time. If you get done with all 3 of those things, guess what? Good. Leave work. Good. Relax. Maybe you have a backup of something that you can do separate with, right? You have a backup of, oh, well, if I get this done, here are the few other things that I can get into. But I always tell people to be wary of that, because we can go down a rabbit hole real quick, and before we know it, we're at work later than we thought because we tried to get into a different project later in the day. Don't do that. Don't do that. So that is my challenge for you. If you're listening, write down 1, 2, 3. Number 1 is a big project that you want to accomplish. Number 2 is something business maintenance that you need to do. Number 3 is something personal. And then everything below that is your communications. Don't overload it. Just make sure to mark it off. Every time you mark off one of those tasks, it gives you a huge dopamine hit. And it tells you, hey, that's good. The more you do that, you don't overload, because when you don't check those things off and you have a million things on your to-do list, that it gives you the adverse effect. You feel terrible. It doesn't give you that dopamine hit. And you feel like, oh man, unaccomplished, tired and fatigued at the end of the day. Instead of, hey, I marked off my 1, 2, 3. I feel great. I have all the energy. This also lowers our stress levels and gets us away from that reactive day so that we can be in a proactive day, so that we own our day instead of our day owning us. All right. I've talked a lot about this. Hopefully this is stuff that hit home with some of you guys. If you have questions about this or you want to talk more, feel free. Send me an email, joel@iconfitness.com. You can also find a link to be able to book a one-on-one with me in my Instagram page. Or, like I said, reach out to me, joel@iconfitness.com. Just send me an email, any questions that you might have with it. Okay? That is it. It is important to be able to own your day. It is important that you stay in that parasympathetic state and away from that sympathetic state so you can get rid of that mid-belly fat or that mid-weight fat, and to be able to get rid of those aches and pains. If you have any other questions or you are interested in the 12-week Icon, where you will work with me one-on-one for 12 weeks as I introduce you to all of these different health techniques and teaching you to be able to own your day instead of your day owning you, give me a call, let me know, or email me. You can call me too, 775-338-9966, or shoot me an email at joel@iconfitness.com. All right, that's it for now. Next week, I will be here same time, same place, 12:30 p.m., where we'll get into another topic about how you can live a healthier and happier life. All right, Stay well. I hope you guys are having a killer day. Until next time, party on, Wayne.